everyone. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So we begin with a quote today. Yellen sees U.S. companies pushing to back global tax deal. End quote. That's a Bloomberg headline story from earlier this morning. And digging a little deeper into her interview, she said U.S. companies are likely to provide crucial support for the tax bill. Crucial support. Kind of like falling on your sword, huh? Throwing yourself in front of the train. Or at least I have this picture of CEOs sobbing wildly because they can't get a tax hike that, by the way, would reduce their profits, lower their stock prices, cut back on their payroll, and undermine productivity. I'm surprised these CEOs, as socially woke as some of them have become, I'm kind of surprised when it comes to their own financial statement, they're not picketing together with large placards saying, please raise my taxes. And they would march not just to raise their domestic income taxes, but their capital gains and their death taxes and their overseas taxes. So I'm still kind of looking for this news event, but I don't see it. And that's what's so puzzling about Ms. Yellen saying corporations are going to really get behind her tax hike. Now, here's what I do know. The Business Roundtable, which is home to the 200 largest companies in America, is opposed to the Biden-Yellen tax hikes, both at home and abroad. Opposed, Madam Secretary. Not crucially supporting, but opposed. And they have said so publicly. So I don't really know who she's talking about. By the way, just for the heck of it, President Trump is now pouring it on. He's warning Republicans not to raise taxes. And I will quote, President, Republicans in the U.S. Senate must not in any way, shape, or form increase taxes that were won in the Trump tax cut, the largest cut in our history. Spot on, Mr. President. It's always fabulous, I mean this, when you stay on message. Terrific stuff. And speaking of the great Trump tax cut, well, the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, and the JTC, Joint Tax Committee, have priced out the Trump and Biden's tax proposal. So listen to this, it's important. The Trump corporate tax cut was priced out at $350 billion, that is, in lower revenues. The Biden corporate tax hike is priced out at $2.2 trillion of increased revenues, right? So $350 billion lower revenues, $2.2 trillion higher revenues. In other words, the Biden tax hike is 7 times as large as the Trump tax cut. Now, just think about that for a minute. It's not just jumping the corporate rate from 21 to 28. It used to be 35. People might say, well, that's not so bad. Biden's is a 7 times greater tax hike than the Trump tax cut. And that is serious business. Now, here's another thought. Although the Democrats have not yet put together a budget resolution, and therefore they cannot form any kind of reconciliation package yet, and indeed, the whole so-called infrastructure package completely lacks details on spending or the pay-fors. There's really no there at the moment. But they're back in July, so maybe they'll work on it. But most interesting to me, the desperate Democrats are now talking about dynamic scoring. Now, I actually love this. For years, supply-siders like me, we've argued that lower tax rates change economic behavior. Tax something less, you get more of it. And we've always wanted this dynamic behavioral response to be included in the 10-year estimates of the economy, along with the estimates of federal spending and revenues. Otherwise, in static terms, you could presumably raise the tax rate to 100% from, say, 21% corporate. 100%. Now, everyone with a pea-sized brain would know that a 100% tax rate would destroy the economy, kill jobs, lose revenues. But on a static basis, they would just score 100% tax as an increase in revenues, which is very weird and very wrong. Now, institutionally, this is the way it's been for years, static. Recently, the CBO started using a kind of watered-down approach, incorporating some dynamism for economic behavioral changes. The Tax Foundation does a great job, as do other models nowadays. Not all the models, but some. So my point is, if the Democrats want to incorporate dynamic scoring into their $3 trillion package or whatever size, I say fine. Now, they're arguing that their social spending, so-called human infrastructure, universal preschool, free community college, child's credits, dependent care, all those things, that would increase productivity and economic growth and hence revenues to reduce the deficit. Dynamic scoring. Color me highly skeptical, especially because their social spending is not tied to any work incentives or work requirements. But, dynamic scoring has to be applied to the tax hike side. So to quote the great Art Laffer, if you tax something more, you'll get less of it. And less of it means lower revenues and bigger deficits. In fact, the Penn-Wharton model has virtually the same numbers as the Tax Foundation and the NAM Rice University model. All three models, using dynamic scoring of Biden's spending and tax proposals, show roughly a 1 to 1.5% future drop of GDP, a similar decline in jobs, capital stock, and productivity. And in fact, the Business Roundtable is paying close attention to the Penn-Wharton model. So I hope Democrats understand what they're getting into, because dynamic scoring is going to jack up their deficit numbers by reducing the economy and dropping revenues. Incidentally, on this subject, the $350 billion Trump corporate tax cut basically paid for itself in about 18 months, as we suspected. Why? Because of stronger economic growth and much lower unemployment, and hence more taxable income throughout the economy at the lower tax rates. There was far less tax avoidance, and huge volumes of overseas corporate cash repatriated came flowing into the Treasury coffers. In fact, the entire Trump tax cut, the whole thing, individual and corporate, which was priced at $1.5 trillion, nearly paid for itself. Just before the pandemic hit, CBO estimates showed only a couple of $100 billion, $200 billion or so shortfall in revenues. And that would have been easily gobbled up had it not been for the virus and the shutdown. But that's what lower tax rates do. They change behavior. Folks work, invest, and tax, and they take more risks. Now, Schumpeterian gales of creative destruction run through the economy, opening the door to massive advances, inventiveness, innovation, technologies. In fact, as I occasionally have in the past, last weekend I communed with Joseph Schumpeter, who of course passed away in 1950, but we periodically spiritually commune on the economy. It's very helpful to me. He told me, beware of the Biden tax hikes. He completely agrees with President Trump and doesn't understand Janet Yellen, who was an excellent Fed chair, but of course, you're only as good as your last trade, and this tax hike trade is not good at all.